Hi there, and thank you for choosing this course on TCM Academy. My name is Aaron Wilson, and I'll be the instructor for this course. In this course, we'll be covering both Android and iOS mobile application penetration testing, and in this video, I just want to give you some information about myself, as well as what we'll be covering in this course, so if you are making the decision to buy the course, you'll have all the information you need to make that decision. So about me, my name is Aaron Wilson. I'm a security analyst in the Fortune 50. I have a few certifications such as the CISSP, the EJPT, the eLearn Security Mobile Application Penetration Tester, and a few more certifications as well, such as the CEH and the CHFI. I have a bachelor's degree in security and risk analysis from Penn State University, as well as a master's degree in cybersecurity from Western Governors University. You can find me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is www.linkedin.com/in/Wilson-security. You can also find me on YouTube. I have a few videos on there. The name of my YouTube channel is Wilson Security Group. Okay, so getting into what we're covering in this course, it's going to be basically set up into three different parts. First, we'll have our setting the stage. Here we'll be covering resources and books to read to be successful in this course, as well as in your future mobile pen testing career. Then we'll move into the mobile pen testing certification landscape, talk about what certs are out there today if you want to prove your hands-on skills or knowledge in mobile app pen testing. Then we'll go into the device requirements for this course. For the Android section of this course, there's not really any specific device requirements. You can use a Windows machine, you can use a Linux machine, or a Mac machine. But for the iOS portion of this course, you will need a MacBook and also a physical iPhone or iPad running iOS 14.7 or less. Now the reason for that is that we'll be jailbreaking an iPhone in this course, and that will help us with our mobile app pen testing. So if you do not have these, you can definitely feel free to keep on watching the iOS videos and learning from them. But to really get the full value out of this course, you're going to need these devices to be successful. And after we've done that, we'll go into the process of penetration testing. If you've never done a penetration testing course, I'll go through that at a very high level. Then we'll also go into the mobile application penetration testing process and show you where the mobile app pen testing process can actually lead sometimes into the penetration testing process as well. After that entire section called setting the stage is over, we will go into the core of the course material on Android pen testing and iOS pen testing. So for the Android section, we'll be doing our setup. We'll talk a little bit about the basics of Android security, the Android security architecture, and then we'll do our lab setup as well. For our lab setup, we'll be talking about a few tools like Kali Linux. If you've never set up Kali Linux before, have a quick tutorial on that. We'll talk about JADX, GUI, APK tool, Android Studio, and how to set up emulators. And for those four red highlighted tools, I will also be covering those for all three major operating systems. So we'll do a Linux install video, a Windows install video, and also a Mac install video. Then we'll talk about how to download apps from the App Store for local analysis, so you can go out there and get any application that you want off the App Store. We'll also talk a little bit about Android physical devices and how those might differ from things like emulators. For the static analysis portion of the course, this is when we'll be getting into the real mobile application analysis. And the app we'll be using throughout this course is called Injured Android. You can easily go out there and find this on GitHub. I'll show you exactly how to download it from the Google Play Store as well. For the static analysis, we'll be using Injured Android as our dummy application because it has a lot of different vulnerabilities you'll be able to utilize in your static analysis and dynamic analysis processes. For static analysis, we'll be talking about the Android manifest.xml, talking about activities, content providers, how to find things like stored secrets and API keys in our applications. We're talking about Firebase databases and also cloud storage buckets and how we can find those through the static analysis process. Finally, to polish off static analysis, we'll talk about how to automate some of this using a tool called MobSF. Going to dynamic analysis, we'll talk about SSL pinning, what that is, how it affects our mobile applications. Then we'll show you how to intercept application traffic using two tools. Burp Suite, and Proxyman. Next, we'll actually go into breaking SSL pinning by using a tool called Frida in Objection. That is basically going to be able to allow us to edit our application source code and break some of the security features that might be protecting application traffic. Then we'll go into dumping memory and sensitive data out of our application while it's running. Also talk about some things like SQLite databases and shared preferences, how our application can actually be storing information while it's running. Then we'll talk a little bit about local storage and some files that might appear and disappear, for instance, when the application is started versus when the application is stopped. To polish off the entire Android pen testing section, we'll do a live bug bounty hunt against 2 apps downloaded from the Google Play Store, so you can put everything together into one video and see how a pen tester actually uses all this information to be successful at mobile app bug bounty hunting. Moving into the iOS section, again, we'll talk about the device requirements, which again is a MacBook and an iPhone or an iPad running iOS 14.7 or less. We'll talk a little bit about the basics of iOS security, do our lab setup and installation of a lot of different tools like Xcode, Objection, etc. We'll do our static analysis for iOS apps, including how to analyze the IPA manually and how to do it automatically using MobSF again. We'll talk about critical files like the info.plist, how to find things like API keys, storage buckets, and URLs in your iOS applications as well. For the iOS dynamic section, again, we'll be talking about Objection and Frida for iOS. There's some different commands you have to use for iOS as compared to Android. We'll also talk about breaking SSL pinning, again, for iOS applications. And finally, we'll polish off this section with jailbreaking. And jailbreaking will be our last resort attempt to break SSL pinning. And to completely polish off the iOS section, again, we will finish the course with a live bug bounty hunt against 2 iOS applications downloaded directly from the Apple Store. So I hope this course overview was helpful and gives you some information about what we'll be covering, and I hope to see you in the course materials.